we have a new United States president. What does that mean? For the United States, for our economy, for the average Americans, we're gonna talk about the economy, tariffs, taxes, and many more. First off, let's get one thing straight. The economy has its cycles, and it doesn't particularly care who the president is. If you've been watching this channel, you understand what the yield curve is, what happens when it's inverted, and when it uninverts in a bull steepener. It means recession ahead. This is one of the most accurate economic indicators in history, and it doesn't care who the president is. So based on this yield curve, not based on James Santiago's opinion, we should be headed for a recession sometime next year. We've covered the Psalms rule in this channel as well, and this one also has a nearly 100% accuracy in predicting recessions. It's also saying the same thing, that we should be having a recession in a few months. The stock market is in an all-time bubble according to the Buffett indicator. The real estate market is on an all-time bubble based on a Case-Shiller index adjusted for inflation. Inflation have been rampant during the Biden economy, and people got their savings rate depleted. And that's also an economic indicator, by the way. We got billionaires like Warren Buffett, Waltons, Jamie Dimon, Bezos, liquidating their shares and are holding historic amount of cash. Preparing for what? And we have a looming commercial real estate crisis here in the US and a current commercial real estate crisis in China. The biggest asset class in the world, yeehaw! And will most likely send a liquidity crisis all over the globe. Quoting my idol, George Gammon, we're only playing with probabilities, in spite how accurate these historical data and indicators are. Now, I'm not sure how much the Donald studied economic indicators, but it's gonna be one hell of a ride for him and for the rest of the American people. Considering there's no other black swan events, now Donald got some unique policies that I think could help ease some financial stress on individuals and businesses alike. Let's start with a few examples. No tax on tips. This one can be huge for the workers in the service industry. Eliminating taxes on tips means more take-home pay for those who rely on gratuities. No tax on seniors. By lifting taxes on seniors, he's allowing retirees to keep more of their money, which is especially important when they're often on fixed incomes. No tax on overtime. For those putting in extra hours, this could make those long work weeks even more rewarding. More disposable income means a stronger consumer base and a stronger economy. It's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be better for people and businesses. It's gonna be great. Excuse me, Mr. President. We're gonna talk about tariffs now. All right, let's talk about tariffs. Let's say with tariffs, it's a form of price control, and you're gonna prevent free market capitalism, and you're gonna prevent productivity. And you know me, I'm all about free market capitalism. But when I think about it, we have three companies here, three business owners. We got Chun Li, she owns a Chinese company. And we got Joe, an American business owner, and we got Jane, another American business owner. So Chun Li is going to be charged with tariffs on her products that she's going to sell to the United States. And tariffs is basically like a tax on her products, and she's going to pass on those taxes into the American consumer right there. American consumer is always so happy, even though he's always the one getting the short end of the stick. Alright, so let's say they are selling a television. So they say Chun Li could have sold the TV to the consumer at $100. But now, since Chun Li is going to have tariffs on the TVs, Chun Li is going to have to sell the TV to the consumer for $130. Passed on to the consumer. But we got multiple American companies right here who can also produce televisions, and they are not getting charged with tariffs. No tariffs for them, tariffs only for Chun-Li. So these American companies have no cost to pass on to the consumers. And if there's multiple of them, they could be competing. There's still free market capitalism on this side. So they're still going to be competing to provide the lowest price for the best value, which is what free market capitalism does. So they might still be able to sell these television for $100 to the happy consumer. And now the happy consumer will instead choose an American product, and the consumer is going to pay $100. So let's say he bought it from Jane's television company. Now Jane has a $100 earned, which will be used to grow her company, which will pay her employees and create more jobs in the United States. So I think tariffs can still be good, especially if the American companies can produce what Chun-Li is producing. But if it's something like a product made from resources that we don't have in the United States, then we're gonna have to depend on Chun-Li to produce those products, and we can't. And the United States companies can't compete with Chun-Li anyway because you can't produce it in the United States. Then Mr. Trump, Mr. President, should go easy on putting tariffs on those particular products that the U.S. companies cannot produce. So I think tariffs can be good, but it has to be done right. Now let's talk about what we're not seeing. Under Kamala's proposed policies, we'd be looking at things like price controls. I have a video right here on price controls. Basically, the communist countries does those kind of things. A certain leader from Germany with a crazy mustache on also imposed these price controls. Price controls also led to the downfall of the Roman Empire. I don't make $400,000 in a year, sir. Kamala's plan would have been so good so we can tax the rich and they can pay their fair share of things. Let's not forget that Kamala had a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains, and I don't even want to talk about that anymore. She didn't win. Let's move on. Perhaps the most critical impact of Trump's presidency is on protecting our First and Second Amendments. Let's face it, these rights are the foundation of a free society. Even if we go into a recession right now, we'll work hard and toil and labor, and we can always get back up. An infringement of the First and Second Amendment will be the end of society. And to a lot of people living comfortably in the United States, they cannot possibly comprehend how it is to have to fight for your freedom. And a lot of people don't understand that there's still an ongoing fight for this. And if we don't, we're on a slippery slope towards an Orwellian future. We know that the left has been pushing for things like central bank digital currencies. And we have the World Economic Forum publishing books like You'll Own Nothing and Be Happy. And we know that these people back the left. We saw how in 2020, how quickly freedoms could be taken away and censorships across media platforms became all too real. They locked up people in cages, forced them to wear masks, condemned legit doctors and medical professionals for having different opinions than the narrative. And a few months ago, we got old Mr. Zuckerberg here admitting being pressured by the Biden administration to censor not only people with different views about the virus, but also censoring Hunter Biden laptop and all the garbage they have. Now on to some good news. As of now, we're nearing 36 trillion in national debt. So stick around on Learn Wealthy because we'll be diving on what that means for America's future. Believe me, it's something that you'll want to understand, so you better stay notified here at Learn Wealthy. And lastly, don't forget that the Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC meeting, is today and tomorrow. So we'll be covering the results of that meeting when it's over. And here at Learn Wealthy, we're leaning that the Fed is going to cut more rates for more finance, investing, real estate, macroeconomics. Let's all learn wealthy.